Hello, back again on the Top Recap channel. This time I will tell a movie's entitled, I Spit on Your Grave. Let's get straight into the storyline. The story begins by showing the jungle backcountry of Texas. The story will focus on a woman named Jennifer, a novelist from New York City. Jennifer is currently traveling to write her second novel. On the way, Jennifer then stops at a store to pick up the keys to the cabin she will be staying in. A man named Earl gives her the key and instructs her on the route to the cabin. According to Jennifer, the purpose of her trip was to get some peace and quiet while she wrote her novel. On the way there, Jennifer became confused about the road she was on, so she stopped at a gas station to ask for help. There, she met Johnny, one of the officers who showed her which way to go. Johnny then tries to approach Jennifer and flirt with her, but Jennifer was scared, so she accidentally pressed her car keys, which startled Johnny and spilled a gasoline bucket, causing his friends, Andy and Stanley, to laugh at him. After a long journey, Jennifer finally arrived at the cabin that would be her home for the next few months. She then immediately unpacked her belongings, preparing to begin the change of environment. The next day, Jennifer was seen relaxing by the lake after days of working on her novel. She then heard a suspicious noise, but paid little attention to it. The sound of the voice repeatedly made Jennifer very uncomfortable. Jennifer walked across to a nearby shed to check it out, but she found nothing but bottles of rat poison in the place. When she returned, she accidentally spilled her drink on her clothes and was forced to go to the kitchen to clean the stain. There, an unknown person was seen secretly documenting Jennifer in her half-naked state. The next day, she decided to take a walk in the woods. In the middle of the woods, Jennifer found an abandoned cabin. Out of curiosity, Jennifer then checked how things were inside, but she didn't find anything interesting in the place and decided to leave. The scene moves to Jennifer, who was already in the cabin. There, Jennifer found that the sink and toilet were clogged. Jennifer then called a plumber named Matthew. Matthew suffers from a mental disability, hence his stuttering speech. After Matthew fixed his problem in the bathroom, Jennifer was very happy and spontaneously kissed Matthew. The shy Matthew blushed for a moment and ran out of the cabin. Meanwhile, in the forest, Andy, Stanley, and Johnny gather and fish by the lake. Besides fishing, they also tortured animals just for fun. The cruelty was recorded by Stanley, who was passionate about documenting anything random. Not long after, Matthew arrives and tells them that he has received a kiss from a beautiful woman. Johnny didn't believe him initially, but Stanley confirmed it was real. Stanley then shows the video footage of Jennifer in her underwear. The scene then moves to tonight, when Jennifer still hears creepy noises around the house. Jennifer was disturbed by these sounds because she needed peace to continue writing her novel. Jennifer checked around the house and saw a dead bird in front of the door. When she returned to the cabin, she was surprised to see her laptop with a group photo of the people she had met a few days earlier. It wasn't long before Johnny, Stanley, and Andy entered Jennifer's cabin. All of them in the cabin frightened Jennifer, and she immediately tried to shoo them away. However, Johnny insisted on not leaving because they had something to do with Jennifer. Stanley then called Matthew, and Johnny immediately dragged him inside so that he could also participate in their plan. As a leader, Johnny then planned to threaten and force Jennifer to drink alcohol together. However, when Jennifer refused, Johnny became even more upset, so Jennifer had no other choice but to obey his orders. Johnny then asked Jennifer to show him her teeth. Johnny then pulled her closer. Johnny then pulled out a gun and pointed it at Jennifer's mouth in a sensual way. Andy approaches her and does the same, but with liquor. Meanwhile, Johnny forces Matthew to do the same to Jennifer. Jennifer then finds the courage to punch Andy in the knee and spray pepper on Stanley. Thanks to that action, Jennifer escapes the cabin and enters the forest. In the middle of her escape, Jennifer met a sheriff named Storch. At that time, Storch was accompanying Earl, who was going to hunt wild boar. Crying, Jennifer then told the two men about the attack she had just experienced. Storch then calmed Jennifer down by showing her his badge and telling her she was safe. The sheriff then tells Earl to go home as he will accompany Jennifer back to the cabin. Moments later, Storch drives off with Jennifer and they return to the cabin to confront the group. Storch boldly called out and told them to get out. Examining the scene, Storch found a broken bottle of alcohol and Jennifer's marijuana stub. Storch became suspicious and began interrogating Jennifer. Even though Jennifer said that she was a victim, Storch still forced Jennifer to comply with his orders. Storch then ordered Jennifer to face the window while patting her shoulder. But here, we can see that Storch deliberately touches Jennifer's body inappropriately, revealing that Storch is a member of the group. It wasn't long before Johnny and his friends came to surprise Jennifer. Storch meanwhile pointed his gun at Jennifer. He ordered Jennifer to kneel down. Johnny lifted her up while ordering Matthew to enjoy her body. Jennifer looks helpless against 5 men who intend to enjoy her body. Her chance of survival is now at stake. Stanley records the whole thing with his camera, while Matthew enjoys Jennifer's body. Despite her limp, Jennifer managed to gather her strength and get out of the cabin. Jennifer then walked into the forest. There, she finds the group again, where more misery awaits her. Andy drags dragged Jennifer to a pool of water and drowned Jennifer's head several times. As Jennifer lay on the ground, Storch took off his pants to forcibly enjoy Jennifer's body. Despite Jennifer's pleas for mercy, they continued to enjoy her body. After the men took turns enjoying Jennifer's body, Jennifer then began to wake up and was now covered in dirt. Jennifer then got up again to go further into the forest, hoping to get help. Still recovering from her suffering, she then reached the bridge while the 5 jerks kept following her. Just as Storch was about to shoot her, Jennifer let herself fall into the river. This made them panic. They decided to search for Jennifer's body, but after searching for hours, they couldn't find Jennifer's body. As an alternative, they destroyed the evidence left behind, especially the footage of Stanley enjoying Jennifer. After the incident, Storch decided to return home, and his wife and daughter Chastity greeted him as if nothing had happened. He then spent the night at home with no remorse for his actions. The next day, Storch stopped by Earl's store to return the cabin key and said that Jennifer had left without notice.
I found empty cases of booze.
Weeks passed, and the group continued their lives as if nothing had happened. It turns out that Matthew is the only one who feels remorse and spends most of his time in the woods. One day, he had a vision of Jennifer looking at him in a ghostly way. Matthew closes his eyes in fear and thinks that Jennifer is haunting him. Meanwhile, Andy and Johnny are hanging out drinking, but a moment later, they see Stanley running towards them. Stanley then informs them that his camera has been stolen before revealing the controversial footage inside the camera. Hearing this made Johnny very angry and started beating Stanley for endangering them. That night, Johnny heard voices outside his house. Out of curiosity, Johnny checked outside and found a dead bird on his porch. He then kicked it and went back inside the house. When he went back inside, he heard the noise again. Annoyed, Johnny went outside with a gun. To his surprise, the dead bird was lying in front of his house. Johnny kicked the bird again and went back inside his house. But when Johnny heard the sound again, he rushed outside and saw Jennifer's slippers on the terrace. Feeling that someone was playing a trick on him, Johnny tried to chase the origin of the sound, but to no avail. Meanwhile, Storch returned home to meet his wife, who told him a package was addressed to Storch. After seeing the package, Storch was very surprised to find one of Stanley's videotapes. Storch then immediately went with the videotape to see Stanley. Upon arrival, Stanley was very nervous when he saw Storch holding his videotape. But before Storch could do anything further, Johnny immediately showed Jennifer's slippers on his porch. Johnny suspects that Matthew is the perpetrator who has been terrorizing them.
10-8.
The scene then changes when Storch takes Earl hunting. On the way to hunting, Storch gave Earl a bottle of whiskey and then shot him. The reason Storch killed Earl was because Earl was one of the witnesses who saw if Storch accompanied Jennifer back to the cabin. Meanwhile, still worried, Matthew decided to return to the cabin to reflect on his actions. But he heard Jennifer's voice calling him out of nowhere, so he ventured inside and checked the cabin. That's when Matthew slipped and fell down the stairs and then passed out. When Matthew came to, he saw Jennifer sitting on the sofa. Jennifer then invited Matthew to sit next to her. Matthew repeatedly apologized for what he had done to her. Matthew then hugged Jennifer while sobbing because he kept remembering his guilt. Jennifer comforted him and then calmed Matthew down, but it wasn't long before Jennifer entangled Matthew's neck with a rope. Matthew kept apologizing even though he was panting, but Jennifer replied that an apology was not enough. The re-emergence of pieces of evidence prompted the group to search for Matthew in the forest. After a long search, Andy and Stanley finally arrive at an abandoned cabin. Andy then goes inside, while Stanley stays outside to look for signs of Matthew's whereabouts. There, Stanley surprisingly saw Jennifer standing in front of him, grinning. When Stanley approached her, he stepped on a bear trap that Jennifer had set. Stanley, who was in pain, immediately shouted Andy, but Jennifer was ready and immediately hit Andy with a stick. Then Jennifer also hit Stanley to knock him out. After a while, Jennifer tied Stanley to a tree and filmed him with a camera. She took out a dead rat and put it in Stanley's mouth, which made him vomit. Jennifer then set up the camera and used a fish hook to keep Stanley's eyes wide open. While filming him, Jennifer took out the fish guts and smeared the guts all over Stanley's face. The smell of the fish guts attracted the attention of many crows, who started pecking at Stanley's face. It wasn't long before Stanley's eyeballs were eaten out by the birds, and Stanley bled to death. Meanwhile, Andy woke up in the cabin with his body tied to some boards above the bathtub. The water in the tub kept filling up. When Jennifer goes in to check on him, Andy begs her to let him go, but Jennifer was sure that she would be subjected to the same torture she had endured. Jennifer repeatedly submerged Andy's head in the water before finally mixing caustic soda and removing one of the boards. Andy had no choice but to hold himself up with all his might to stay balanced, but his body eventually fell into the water. It also burned Andy's face, which led to his death. The next day, Jennifer stopped by the gas station where Johnny worked. Jennifer deliberately seduced Johnny by wearing a short skirt and attacked him him when he approached. As part of her plan, Jennifer takes Johnny back to the cabin to torture him. When Johnny wakes up, he finds himself bound with no clothes on. His torment begins when Jennifer pulls out Johnny's teeth one by one using pliers. This makes Johnny realize his mistake. Jennifer then pulled out a gun and pointed it at Johnny's mouth just like he did to her. Johnny, however, laughs at Jennifer, which makes Jennifer even angrier. Jennifer then took out a giant pair of scissors. Jennifer then cut Johnny's missile and put it in his mouth. Johnny screamed in pain before finally dying of blood loss. Jennifer finally arrived at her last target, Storch. At that time, Storch received a call from his family saying that Chastity's teacher was at their house. Jennifer even greeted Storch over the phone, which surprised Storch. Worried about his family, Storch returns to his house only to find out that Chastity has gone with Jennifer to the park. Storch immediately went to the park. Storch still couldn't find his daughter's whereabouts when he got there. Storch then returned to his police car, but it turned out that Jennifer was waiting for him and immediately knocked Storch out. When he woke up, Storch found himself in the cabin with a gun pointed at his body. Showing no mercy, Jennifer then talked about how innocent Chastity was. Storch begged for his daughter to be released as she had nothing to do with this. Jennifer then tortured Storch by pushing the gun deeper into him, causing him pain. Across the room, Jennifer then revealed that Matthew was still alive but unconscious. A rope attached to the rifle was tied around Matthew's wrist, which was set to kill both men if Matthew moved. At this point, Storch pleaded desperately for his life, but Jennifer ignored him completely. Not caring about his cries, Jennifer walked out of the cabin and patiently waited to see what would happen next. A moment later, Matthew finally woke up. Storch asked Matthew to stay calm. However, due to Matthew's mental instability, he panicked and unconsciously pulled the trigger, ending their lives. Meanwhile, Jennifer, who has managed to get revenge, can finally smile with satisfaction. And the movie is over. Don't forget to click subscribe, like, and comment.